Imagine a world with no books, no newspapers, no text messages, and no way to record a single thought except by memory. Thousands of years ago, that was reality. And then, in the heart of ancient Mesopotamia, something extraordinary happened. Humanity invented writing. But this wasn't just any writing. This was cuneiform, the world's first written script, created by a civilization known as the Sumerians. Today, we'll take a journey back in time to explore how this remarkable invention changed human history forever. The Sumerians lived in the southern part of Mesopotamia, in what is now modern-day Iraq, around 4000 BCE. Their land lay between two great rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates. This area was called the cradle of civilization for a reason. It was here that humans first built cities, developed organized religion, created government systems, and, of course, invented writing. Cities like Uruk, and Lagash became bustling centers of trade and culture. The Sumerians were skilled farmers, using irrigation to turn desert land into fertile fields. They traded grain, livestock, and textiles with distant regions. But as their society grew more complex, so did their need to keep track of information. In a world without paper or computers, records had to be stored in the mind, which worked fine for small villages, but for a civilization of tens of thousands of people, this became impossible. Sumerian merchants needed to track trade deals, farmers needed to record harvests, priests had to manage temple offerings, government officials needed to keep tax records. At first, they tried simple clay tokens to represent goods, one token for a jar of oil, another for a sheep. But as the economy grew, so did the complexity. Eventually, they realized they needed a more permanent, flexible system, a way to record not just numbers, but also names, places, and events. Around 3200 BCE, the Sumerians developed a revolutionary system. They pressed wedge-shaped marks into soft clay tablets using a reed stylus. This script became known as cuneiform, from the Latin cunus, meaning wedge. At first, the symbols were pictographs, simple drawings of the object they represented. A picture of a fish meant fish. A picture of a grain stalk meant grain. Over time, these pictures became more abstract, turning into a true writing system that could represent sounds, ideas, and actions. The process was meticulous. Scribes would smooth out a wet clay tablet, press in the characters, and then let it dry in the sun or bake it in a kiln to preserve it. Many of these tablets have survived for over 5,000 years, giving us a window into the daily life of the Sumerians. At first, the symbols were pictographs, simple drawings of the object they represented. A picture of a fish meant fish. A picture of a grain stalk meant grain. Over time, these pictures became more abstract, turning into a true writing system that could represent sounds, ideas, and actions. The process was meticulous. Scribes would smooth out a wet clay tablet, press in the characters, and then let it dry in the sun or bake it in a kiln to preserve it. Many of these tablets have survived for over 5,000 years, giving us a window into the daily life of the Sumerians. The process was meticulous. Scribes would smooth out a wet clay tablet, press in the characters, and then let it dry in the sun or bake it in a kiln to preserve it. Many of these tablets have survived for over 5,000 years, giving us a window into the daily life of the Sumerians. Learning cuneiform wasn't easy. A scribe could spend years in a special school called an eduba, or tablet house, mastering hundreds of different signs. These scribes were among the most respected members of society. After all, they controlled the flow of information. They recorded everything: trade transactions, legal contracts, religious hymns, and even the world's first literature, like the Epic of Gilgamesh. Without scribes, there would be no written history, no recorded laws, and no preserved stories. The invention of writing transformed Sumerian civilization. Laws could now be written down, creating a stable legal system. Religious rituals could be recorded, ensuring they were passed down accurately. Farmers could plan for future harvests, using records of past seasons. Writing also united the cities of Sumer under shared culture and administration. It allowed knowledge to spread across generations without relying on word of mouth. In short, it turned the Sumerians into the first truly literate society. From Sumer, cuneiform spread to neighboring cultures like the Akkadians, Babylonians, and Assyrians. Over the centuries, the script evolved and was adapted for different languages. Even when cuneiform eventually disappeared, replaced by alphabetic scripts, the idea of writing had taken root permanently in human civilization. Every letter you type today, every note you write, and every book you read owes its existence to those first marks pressed into clay over 5,000 years ago. The Sumerians didn't just invent writing, they invented the ability to store human thought outside the human brain. This invention allowed us to accumulate knowledge, to learn from the past, and to dream of the future. In many ways, it was the first great leap toward the modern world. So the next time you send a text message, remember, it all started with a reed, a lump of clay, and the genius of a people who lived long, long ago.